Welcome back to the Two More Cast podcast. On this channel, we talk about bass fishing tournaments from the Pacific Northwest. Today, I'm interviewing Dan Zimmerschied, who's been around for a long time. He started in 2018. He's been fishing ever since. He's been the 2021 IKBF Angler of the Year for the Tour Series, and he won the Kayak Bass Classic in the same year of 2021. He's been in 116 tournaments. It's a ton. He's caught over 8,000 inches in fish total, according to his Tourney X stats. It's kind of wild. He's got a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge. There's going to be a lot of things to learn, a lot of things he's going to say. It's going to be great. Today, I'm interviewing Dan Zimmerschied, who is the 2021 KFNW Kayak Bass Classic winner and the 2021 IKBF Angler of the Year. He's also the winner of a Lake Waul event, which we have one of those coming up next month. So it's going to be interesting to see what Dan has to say. Welcome to the show, Dan.
How you doing?
Good. Good. How long have you been fishing for, tournament-wise?
Well, I've been fishing tournaments for quite a while. I started back in like 1998 out of a boat on Clear Lake in Northern California. That's kind of where I grew up. Our family moved there in 1980 when I was 13 and just started fishing at a young age, and then started actually getting into it, like I said, in like 1998. So I've been doing it for quite a while. Yeah. I'm looking at like 24, 25 years now or something like that.
It's a long time. And then from boats, you jumped into kayak fishing later on?
Yeah, it was later. I fished out of boats till about 2007. So from California, I started there, and in 2002, I moved. That's when I moved to Idaho and joined a little bass club here, and then just fished out of a boat till about 2007. Got rid of my boat and was fishing with friends and just a few tournaments here and there. And then I didn't really get back into tournament fishing heavy until 2018. That's when I bought my first kayak.
What was it?
And the story behind that is my brother, who still lives on Clear Lake, he called me up one day. He's like, "Hey, I bought this kayak and I'm going to fish tournaments." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And so he kept bugging me for like a month, and I'm like, "All right." I finally got online and I found a couple little clubs around here in Idaho, kayak clubs, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to buy one and see how it goes." And yeah, it's been fun. So for sure.
It's awesome. What was your first kayak?
So my first kayak was a Hobie PA14.
Oh, he started off good.
So I got it was like a 2014. It was an older one. I wasn't sure how I was going to like the whole kayak thing, so I didn't go with a brand new one, but I did go with something that was stable and a good quality kayak. But it was like the first generation pedal drive, just the forward, and I put a little motor on it and put a fish finder on it and just started fishing. So
That's awesome. You say 2018 was when you first started kayak tournament fishing?
yeah.
What was it was called the KFI? What was the
That's
acronym
a
for?
kayak fishing Idaho. Yeah, that was the first club that I joined. It was just a little club. We had, I don't know, maybe 12, 15 guys in it. And It was fun. It was real cool to do that. And then IKBF came around, I believe, in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you were there pre KFNW or pre Marvin, I guess, right?
Yeah. Not much though, but yeah,
No.
yeah. Yep.
That's awesome. And you won that second event at Brownlee Reservoir. The first event was like what, third place? You started off pretty strong even in 2018.
Oh, yeah, I think my first tournament here was at CJ Strike. And I think I finished like 6th or 7th, and everybody was super nice. It was totally cool. We had like a raffle afterwards. I'm like, "Oh, this is cool," And then the second event was at Brownlee, and I ended up winning that one. So that was pretty cool. And then I think I won the last event was at Black Canyon, and I think I won that one also.
You did.
So that was a pretty. I think I got Angler of the Year that year also
Oh
for
wow.
the KFI club. But
So the KFI is officially the IKBF, then just pre when they did the merger, I guess.
um, KBF was different than the KFI.
Okay,
KFI was just a local club.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And then you did the season kickoff. Oh, hey, what did you think about the team Oz Kyle? Or if you even thought anything about it?
For the Brownlee tournament,
No, for the is that the season kickoff? I don't remember that was that. Was that at Brownlee for this
the one
year?
we just had a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good tournament. I mean, I went there a week before and did a little bit of fishing, and I fish history there, so I always go to the same spots, and I always pretty much throw the same thing. And yeah, that was a fun tournament for sure. It took me about 45 minutes to get to my spot, and I don't think I started fishing until like 7:15 or something like that. And
Wow.
I started throwing the fluke right up against the bank, and they were just smashing it. I think I caught probably 15, 20 keepers the first hour.
Geez, like a
And
weightless fluke or
yeah, yeah, just
wow.
throw on a super hook, super line hook. So it's got a little bit of weight to it, but yeah, you just rifle it up there on with a little spinning rod and work it back, and they were just tearing it up. And then
That's
after that bite died, after about 2 hours, I just went to drop shotting mostly, and I was able to upgrade a little bit. So
was it like largies or smallies at that lake?
there's larges in there, not very many. It's mostly smallmouth.
Okay.
So
And then this last month ago was Lake Lowell event number one
yeah,
for the IKBF.
yeah, yeah. That was a pretty fun one. That's about 8 minutes down the road from my house. So
Uh,
believe it or not, it's close, but I hardly ever fish it because we don't have tournaments there. So I do most of my fishing where I'm going to have tournaments. So I might fish Lake Lowell like 3 times a year, maybe four, and that's it. It's like right down the road, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, there's a lot of largemouth in there. Um, they're all 15 ish, 15-inch to 17, and every once in a while you'll get a good one that's over that. But yeah, a lot of clones in there.
it makes for a pretty close tournament.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be. I knew it was going to take like one or two decent fish to push somebody over the top. So
That's fun. I heard that Dean Hill's the winner of that event. He met you, and you're the reason that he showed up to that event.
yeah, that was so like 3 weeks before the tournament, I was driving around the lake. This was before the off limits was put in place. So I was kind of getting my game plan together, and the south ramps, they get pretty backed up with like wood and stuff. So you got to clear them out to get your kayak out there. So I was kind of driving around the lake like 3 weeks before to see if I needed to go out there and like clear any logs out of the way or brush or whatever before the tournament. And he was pulling his kayak out of the water, and I just stopped and walked up and introduced myself, and we started talking. And I told him about IKBF, and he's like, "Well, I never heard of that." And I was like, "Well, let me see your phone." So I grabbed his phone from him, and he went to Facebook, and I like added him to our Facebook page. I'm like, "There you go." So he's like, "All right, cool, I'll check it out." And then next thing I know, he signed up for the tournament.
That's awesome.
So that was cool. And I think he was fishing like out of a sit-in kayak, like a little
Really?
sit-in kayak, and he actually went and bought like uh, a native Titan 10.5 for the tournament.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
They
he
got the
was
whole
like totally
upgrade.
into it. It's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I
Have you
like
met?
doing that kind of stuff.
He's not the first person you've talked into it then? Or maybe you.
Uh, Probably not. Yeah.
It's awesome. And then we got Lake Waula next, June 15th, the big KFNW event, all three teams. And you've won that event before. Are you feeling pretty confident going into this one?
Yeah, not until I actually go and pre-fish a little bit. Anything I kind of have an idea of where I want to be and what I want to do. I've looked at maps and stuff, but um, I'm pretty confident I'll be able to catch fish. I just don't know the size or how many. So it's a different time of year too. So last time we were there was a little earlier in the year. So I
So
think they'll be maybe spawned out yet. I don't know yet, but we'll see.
the weather's getting warmer already for sure
Yeah, yeah.
down here. You drove to where was the? You've been to this year. You've already been to one no limit tournament, right?
I did. I went down to Clear Lake and fished that one in April.
And that's in
We had like
California.
210 or 219 kayaks or something like that.
Wow.
So yeah, that was like a
shotgun
California.
start or
That was like California record for kayak tournaments.
that's a lot of people.
But it was tough. The weather got real bad, and pre-fishing was super tough. I ended up catching like one fish in the tournament. It was like half hour before lines out, and I was just like so happy to catch one fish. I was just like overjoyed, just so I didn't blank. Because my last name starts with a Z, so if I blank, I'm like dead last. Even if like 100 other guys, blanked, I'm at the bottom.
It's pretty easy to find that way though.
Yeah.
Do you fish like when you go to California? Do you fish the same method you would use in Idaho, or you switch it up a little bit?
I pretty much use the same stuff. Yeah, yeah. I have a few confident baits that I use. If they're not biting on those, I'll switch over to something else. It's all largemouth down there,
Oh, okay.
so they get kind of picky sometimes.
If you had to choose between largemouth and smallmouth, which one would you chase?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I moved here and just the smallmouth up here in Idaho is just amazing. Even on the Wallula and everywhere else I've been up here in the Pacific Northwest, there's some big smallies. So I like them both. Really, I really couldn't pick one or the other.
Right. And yeah, same way. They're both having
Yeah.
fun. Are you more of an offshore fisherman, or you fishing more towards shore?
I mostly fish pretty shallow, especially for largemouth. I love just pitching and flipping in wood or brush, and 6 inches of water, 2 feet of water, and just
Really?
picking apart a whole bank full of wood or brush. That's what I really like to do. But if they're not biting there, then you got to go out and start shaking a little drop shot or Ned rig or something. Out on rock
Right.
piles and points and stuff like that. So
Was it hard to like adjust to kayaking, flipping, and compared to being on a boat and being able to flip, like standing and the balance and all that?
I had to get used to that. Yeah, it took a little bit of practice, but I usually sidearm pitch, so I don't really need to stand out. A lot of times I'll stand in my kayak though. I'm still in a PA 14 360 now, so the kayak I'm in is the same size I started in, but it's the newer one.
What do you think about it? The 360, you like how it moves? It's pretty smooth, or
Oh yeah, yeah, big difference from the one I had before, the first gen. But yeah, you can move around a lot in that thing, kind of wherever you want. So yeah, it makes a big difference. I love it.
that's crazy. That's awesome. I haven't used the 360 yet.
You should.
I'm gonna try for sure.
They're fun.
I'm kayak shopping now.
Might end up buying one.
Right? It's on the list.
Yeah.
So Idaho, California. Are you preparing for the little Wallow event, or are you just kind of hanging out, just fishing?
I haven't been fishing since the Lake Lowell tournament actually, so I'm just kind of hanging out right now. I'm gonna go a couple days early, and just I've got some spots that I've looked on maps and stuff. So I have been preparing a little bit with maps and YouTube videos, of course.
Right.
And and I actually did just respool a rod today that I'll be using quite a bit there. So getting that
What
prepared.
is it a secret?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I understand that.
It's the same thing I used a couple years ago when I won it. So
Yeah, don't give that away.
I'm gonna try that absolutely in practice.
That's awesome. You gonna go down to California for the West Coast Championship again this year too?
Yeah, I'll be heading down there in August. Just that's when it's at, and I'm actually going down there. June 29th is the Bass Nation Wild West Shootout, and that's a qualifier for the Bass Nation Kayak Classic.
Really? That's a big event.
Yeah, yeah. So that'll be fun. That's like 2 weeks after Wallula.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few of us from the Pacific Northwest from KFNW going down there. I saw the list earlier today. I think there's probably 5 or 6 of us at least.
You guys travel together, or is it just coincidence, just the same place, or?
I think some of them are traveling together. I still have family down there, so I go down alone. I kind of lone wolf it when I go down there, and then hang out with family and stay with them. And but I think a lot of the guys they get Airbnbs together and travel together. It makes it a lot cheaper to go down there.
Right. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Are these West Coast Champion events? Are they 1 day or 2 days?
they're 2 day.
2 days. Are they pretty
Yep.
busy? Like how many people would you say? How many
They
people were
well,
there?
so they piggyback with Yak Bass, which is a big club down in California. So they have tournaments on the same weekends, so you can double dip both tournaments. And I think the West Coast Championship is Friday, Saturday, and then the Yakabas tournament is Saturday, Sunday. So it's like 3 days of tournament fishing
That's awesome. You
when
doing
we go
both?
down there. What's that?
Are you gonna do both? Double
Oh
dip
yeah,
too?
oh yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Anytime I can double dip or I do it. Might as well. You're fishing already, so
Right.
if you get lucky, you're gonna do good.
The stats definitely prove that. I mean, you've been in what 115 tournaments.
Oh man,
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And then 77 of those you finished in the top 10 and you've won 16. Those are
yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty impressive stuff
yeah. Thanks.
for sure. I
Yeah,
mean, how do you do it? Like you just fish I guess you've been fishing for so long, it just comes second nature. You don't have to really.
yeah. It's just a lot of time on the water, a lot of years fishing, and then just being able to pattern the fish, I guess. And then once I can pattern the fish, I try to find a pattern in the pattern to even break it down even more. So, and then if I do find a good pattern, I'll maybe switch baits and maybe get some bigger ones to bite. So I'm always switching stuff up and always trying to read and pay attention to what is going on as I'm fishing.
Right. So you're changing colors too with baits, and or do you go as far as changing line to see if things work out?
I don't really change line. I will change baits once in a while. If they're biting on, say I'm throwing a drop shot with a 4-inch worm, and they're really biting on that, I'll move up to the same color, but like a 6-inch, just a little bit bigger, and see if they're biting that. Sometimes they stop biting that because it's just too big. Other times the bigger ones will bite that. So you just kind of play around a little bit throughout the day. If they're not biting the 6-inch, I'll just drop back down to the 4 and go with that.
That's swim baits or any bait, just dropping the sizes down.
Um, yeah, swim baits, drop shot, even like Senkos, I'll drop down a little bit smaller. So
You throwing neds too, or just
yeah,
kind
I'm
of
not a big Ned fan.
no?
No.
You more of a power guy, or well, no, drop
Not.
shots. So you're a
I
finesse
mean,
guy too.
I drop shot a lot and I throw a Cinco a lot. And
It's
then
nothing to
when the time is right, I'll throw crankbait or jerk bait. It just depends. Little swim baits, but most of my fishing is going to be drop shot and Cinco.
wow. Is that pretty much standard? Like if you break down a lake?
I'll break down a lake with those two baits. Yeah.
That's awesome. That makes sense too. Really, I mean, you don't want to overcomplicate things.
No, most of the time I can fish tournaments with 3 rods. I'll take like 8 just to throw people off. I'm just
Sneaky.
giving away one of my secrets. I'll bring like 8 rods, but I'll only use like 2 or 3. Really,
That's
the other
funny.
ones are just decoys. Just decoys.
Some bizarre fish baits out of it.
Mm-hmm.
13-inch rainbow trout.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. And then the classic, you already qualified for that. Are you ready for that? Like Doorshack. I heard that's like a smallmouth. They got giants up in there.
Yeah. That's gonna be a fun one for sure. I've caught some big fish out of Doorshack. So
I guess when you qualify, right?
yeah.
I haven't fished Doorshack. There's a lot of stories about that. I looked it up on YouTube. There's like all kinds of fish being caught out of there.
Yeah.
That's going to be a neat one for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I still need to qualify for that one actually.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. When you went there before, was the competition pretty tight there? People not talking a lot.
It was all right. I mean, there was I think in 2021, I think there was an NRS tournament there, and I ended up winning that one. And that was a fun one. I went there and had really never been there before, maybe once or twice, and did horrible.
Oh, the online challenge series. Are you doing those this year too?
Not really. I kind of got away from those. Just they were taking up a lot of time. If you get into them pretty heavy, they can take up a lot of time on the water. So I kind of got away from that 2 years ago. I did fish them quite a bit the first couple years, and then I'll just cherry pick now. So I'll probably get in the June one coming up, which is smallmouths.
Yeah.
So just because we're going to be on the Wallula, and then I've got a couple good places where they start spawning in June, and
Really?
I can catch some pretty big ones. So I'll probably get into that one.
The bronzeback one?
Yeah.
That's going to be a
Yep.
fun one for sure. Have you done the
Yeah.
pond hopper before? Like
Yeah, I've done it before. We don't have a whole lot of ponds around here. I mean, we do, but I don't know. I can't get into fishing ponds too much.
for sure.
I don't know what it is, but
I
I mean,
can't
there's some
find
big
one.
fish in some of these ponds we got, but I just can't get into it.
Yeah, I can't find a pond. I can't even find a pond around here for
Oh,
200 acres.
really?
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
exist. I'm pretty sure. Some people can. I can't find them.
Yeah, the numbers they're putting up this month for the pond hoppers nuts. I mean, I think we have a couple of anglers that are over 100 in the IKBF,
Yeah,
and then a couple others that are in the 90s, and I'm just like, dang,
it's gonna
I
come
don't think
down
I
to
can
the
do
end
that.
for sure. No, it's tough.
Yeah,
These challenges are real tough.
yeah.
It's like until I started doing this podcast, I kind of ignored the online stuff because I wasn't into it. But like
Hmm.
the stats there and like the competition and those are really close. Those are really fun to watch and pay attention to.
Yeah.
They change a lot, and the people are
Especially
catching
the last
giant
like
fish.
week or couple days, a lot they just hit it hard,
Oh
and
yeah,
you know, try to get that little upgrade here and there. So
that's for sure. Do you put your fish to the leaderboard right away, or do you wait till the end? Kind of
it
sandbag it a
depends
little
on the
bit.
tournament. I don't usually wait till the end. Like Lowell, I waited till I had my first five, and then I submitted them. But some of the places we go in Idaho just don't have cell service. So
Right.
you have to take your pictures and then get off the water when it's lines out or before lines out and go bomb up the hill somewhere in your truck until you have service and then stop and then load all your fish. And it can get kind of crazy at the end there if you're not ready for it or prepared.
Oh yeah, it can be
But
stressful
yeah,
too.
go ahead.
I remember leaving the water like an hour early sometimes just to make sure that the
Yeah,
pictures were submitted.
yeah. You really got to time. I've kind of figured out on most of the lakes where a good spot is to stop in my truck and download my fish. So I know how long it takes to get off the water to get to that spot, pull over. I got like one or two bars on my phone. I can load my fish real quick.
Right. It really
So
is
make sure they
stressful,
got
man.
submitted. Yeah. It can get kind of crazy. It's fun though. I like it. It's all part of the
Right.
competition.
That's true. Especially there's no limits where you have like 20 fish on your phone. They all look the same from like your eyes. It's crazy for me.
Yeah. Yeah, the no limit ones, I'll just load them right away or I'll get confused. Mm.
So you got third place in last year's No Limit. Did you have a plan for that or just kind of worked out that way?
Not really. I just kind of looked at the maps and figured I'd try a couple spots and tried one spot and it was loaded with fish. So I was like, okay, this is where I'm going to fish. I don't know how good I'm going to do or what the outcome's going to be, but there's fish right here. And I ended up launching at one spot and getting to it's just a big underwater shoal in the middle of the river. And the Sita,
Oh yeah.
is that how you
Cynthia
say it?
Mao. I think it's
Yeah,
Cynthia Mao, yeah.
he launched at a ramp upstream. I fished at one downstream from the shoal, and we both kind of met at the same time. And we both have the same kayaks. We both have the IKBF 360, so we're both red. I'm like, oh, I know who that is. So we were pretty far apart from each other, and we've kind of fished around. And then he went straight across to the bank, which I was going to do the same thing after fishing the shoal. And I never saw him catch a fish because I didn't get close enough to him, but he hit the sweet spot, man. I mean, he killed it. He had like over 300 some inches and just caught a ton of fish. But yeah, we were probably 200 yards from each other, and then I fished downstream from there. But yeah, I was right there in the same area. Just he had the sweet spot on the bank.
Man, dude, that was impressive though. He has like 300 and some inches or something crazy like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy. My arm would be tired. Your back
It's
would
like
go
every
out.
cast, and that's not even counting the ones that were under 14 inches.
Right.
Because it's a 14-inch limit. So yeah, it's crazy.
Did you have to deal with the current at all, or was it pretty smooth where you were at?
A little bit. It wasn't too bad. It was just enough to drift me the speed I wanted to be.
That's
So I
awesome.
would drift down and fish the whole bank that I was fishing, and then motor back up, and then do it again. So
That's awesome. Do you fish a lot of rivers in Idaho, like the Snake or?
yeah, most of our reservoirs are on the Snake River,
Okay,
so they were always dealing with a little bit of current.
so you're used to that then. The current.
Yeah, yep.
Is it the same in a boat, or do you just use the trolling motor and you don't even notice it?
Yeah, on a boat, you just get up on the front, and there's like 100 pounds of thrust, and you can get into some spots that on the river that are pretty wild, but yeah, boats are a little different to fish out of than kayak for sure.
Right.
But I like the kayak better, actually. I like being right on the water. I like being able to just go to a spot and you can't get the distance you can out of a boat and cover as much water. But I like it because you can just pick apart a section of bank or whatever, and just really really figure it out. And if you do that at several different ramps, because we're pretty much open ramp or open launch on most of our tournaments, not all of them, but if you just do that on every ramp, you'll be able to figure out some good spots.
Right. I think
Like,
that's the best part of kayaking too, is like you don't have to plan for the whole lake. You only have to worry about the couple sections. So you don't anchor at all then, like in the current. You just mostly like just drift down, then and cruise back up and drift down again, or
yeah, yeah, I can pedal through current and fish like that, and then I'll find some eddies and stuff, maybe, you know, to sit in for a little while or whatever. But usually the current's not too bad in the reservoir sections.
you prefer the reservoir to like a lake or a river?
Yeah, I don't know. I
Hard to
like
say.
fishing there wherever, really.
That's funny. Do you have a favorite lake to fish on? Like one that you can always go to catch just a good numbers lake? You don't have to mention it.
Lake Lowell's always pretty good down the road. I mean, they're not big, but sometimes you can catch 20 or 30 fish out of there. And then Brownlee's the same way certain times a year. I've caught when I had my boat, I would go to Brownlee, and seriously, we would catch like 70 to 80 fish each.
Jeez.
But yeah, it's just crazy sometimes. But we
Good
would get there
times.
like before the sun came up, and then come home when the sun went down. And it gets, the sun goes down in Idaho at like 10:30 in the summer. So we're
Wow.
still out there throwing top water again at 10:30 at night, and then get off the water and be home at like midnight. So
That's
yeah, had some crazy days like that.
those are good times though. Usually the best times.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you plan on traveling other than California to like Oregon or Washington for any of their events?
Just the Wallula event coming up, and then I've got a couple in California on Clear Lake. But I think that's all I'm going to do this year as far as travel. We do have Door Shack if I qualify for the Classic, which is about almost 4.5, 5 hour drive, something like that.
Oh
And then we
wow.
have Coeur d'Alene, which is even farther. So
How's the fishing
I'll
at
be
Coeur
traveling
d'Alene?
up there.
Do you fish there often or at all?
Coeur
Coeur
d'Alene?
d'Alene? Yeah.
No, I've never been there.
Really?
So I've already started looking at maps and stuff, and kind of figure out where I want to be.
That'd be a fun one too. I've been there once. It's just massive. You can't even
Yeah,
see the end of it.
yeah. I'm guessing there's going to be some borders and stuff, out of bounds and borders and stuff, but we haven't seen anything on the lake yet. I think Marvin said he was going to post something this week or maybe next week.
Oh
So
yeah, I did. You saw that on Facebook.
yeah, yeah. So I'm watching out for that.
You've been around for a long time, like since 2018. Like, how would you say like the growth of the sport has come since you started?
It's grown quite a bit. I remember in 2018 with KFI, I think we were maybe 10 to 15. And then the first year of IKBF, I fished just 2 tournaments because I wasn't quite sure about jumping over yet. I kind of wanted to see how it was going to be the first year. But I think I fished Brownlee and CJ Strike, and I think there was only like 9 in one tournament and like 5 in the other. I think the
Oh wow.
CJ Strike one had like five people in it. So yeah, and now we're like up to 30 something.
Wow.
So
And the
yeah,
competition's pretty good too. I know in the Washington or Oregon, yeah, the competition's been pretty good on all three states
yeah,
compared to when I was
yeah,
doing
yeah.
it.
The club's grown quite a bit just in the last couple of years, so it's exciting to see. I hope it keeps growing, and we get more new anglers coming in every year, and it'd be cool to see some good numbers.
We keep meeting them at the boat ramp, man. This league's gonna be full in no time.
I'm trying. every time I see some kayakers fishing, I'm like, hey, have you heard of our club?
That's a
So
good
I'm always
idea.
trying to promote the club and get more people in there.
This time you just have them take your money.
Yeah, exactly. It's all good though. I love it when other people do good. And uh, after the Lowell tournament, Michael Mumford was actually in first place at the award ceremony, and he's a tough stick, man. He came in like last year, 2 years ago, I think maybe 2 years ago, and man, just a good angler. And shook his hand at the award ceremony and said, "You're going to give me grief this year, aren't you?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to try."
That's funny.
So yeah, it's all fun. I love it.
It is funny. Yeah, Dean has actually kind of a record. He was a big guy, big fisherman back in the '90s, I guess, earlier in the days, Texas and Kentucky.
Yeah, we talked
Florida, he
about
grew up in
that a little bit
Florida.
when I met him at the boat ramp that first time. And I'm like, oh, okay, this guy, he needs to get in our club and do some fishing. But yeah, man, he smoked us.
That was crazy.
Kind of cool.
It was like 2 17 inches. There's 3 ties that went on that event too.
Yeah.
It was a
Yep.
wild one. When you're not
Yeah,
catching
I kind of
20-inch
knew that was going to
kickers, they kind of
happen
stay
just
together.
because all the fish are like almost the same size as there. So
There's a lot of limits caught too. And yeah, like 17, 16s, 15s
yeah,
all day.
yep.
That's the norm for that lake, Lowell.
Yeah, pretty much. Every once in a while, someone will catch a 4.5 or 5 pounder,
Oh
which
wow.
is right around 19 and a half, 20 inches. But man, they're unicorns in there for
Legit.
sure. Yeah.
Is there any other tournaments you're doing? It's like down in California, we did the WCC and you did the no limit, and then you're going to do the bass tournament.
Yeah. Those are the three I'm going to do this year. So yeah, I'm not going to do any other ones down there.
Have you
I
done a
might
bass
go.
tournament yet?
Go ahead.
Have you done one of those bass series tournaments yet?
No, I don't think I have. I went down there and fished a tournament 3 years ago. I can't remember if that was one of them or not, but I don't I don't remember. But this is the one you qualify for like a national championship. So that's kind of on my bucket list to go back east and be able to do something like that. Be a good experience.
How many are they taking to qualify from the event? You know?
I think it's the top 10%.
Oh wow.
So I think they have 80 anglers right now signed up, and so the top eight will go. I think they're pushing for 100, and then
That's
they'll
crazy.
send the top 10.
Where's the championship at? Or the classic, the bass
I don't
classic?
even know. So, I'm sure it's back east somewhere at one of
Or
those, super popular lakes. So
Texas or something crazy like that.
yeah, it could be. Yep.
Well, the prizes in like the WKBF or KFNW, are they getting better too? More consistent? I mean, the sponsors are growing.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah, the sponsors have been amazing. Actually, they just donate all kinds of stuff to the raffles and added money to the pot, and just all kinds of cool stuff. So it's good to see. I know the directors and other people are working super hard to get sponsors all the time, and they do a really good job at it.
they do. It's been crazy to see. Even since 2019, since I've been in, like, it seems like everybody's more consistent. Sponsors are definitely helping a lot. And yeah,
Yeah,
Marvin and those guys know what they're doing, it seems.
yeah, and we're doing good at it because the return sponsors. If you get a sponsor for 1 year and then they don't come back, it's kind of like they didn't like us, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, we have a lot of return sponsors, which is great. Great. Yeah. And I always try to use, our sponsors' products or whatever and give a shout out to them on Facebook or Instagram. So it helps a lot when we do that.
For sure. They've been good. Yeah, everything's been great. Like everything seems to be growing
Yeah.
At a wild pace, really. Do you have
Yep.
sponsors of your own, or?
I don't. I've kind of not gone that route. I kind of just like to go out and fish and have fun and not have to really answer to anybody, I guess.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
but I mean, I just like going out there and fishing and having a good time and you know, getting other people into the sport. So,
that's awesome. How big is that fish behind you on the wall?
oh, that one,
Yeah.
that's it's supposed to be a 10 pounder.
Oh wow,
So
that's huge.
that's just a replica that a buddy of mine painted. He's a taxidermist now, but when he first
Oh,
started out, he's like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna get this replica of a 10 pound bass, and I'm gonna try to paint it." I'm like, "All right, cool, do it." So he did it, and he's like, "Hey, do you want this?" And I'm like, "All right, I'll take it."
awesome! It looks legit too.
Yeah, he
That's
did a pretty good job. This was when he was first starting out, but yeah, he's doing all kinds of stuff with it now.
That's funny.
That actually almost matches my biggest bass I've ever caught.
A 10
My
pounder?
biggest bass I ever caught was 9 pounds 9 ounces
Oh my god.
out of Clear Lake,
What was
and
that like?
caught her on a bed with a jig. Actually, out of my very first boat, it was I had a 14-foot Valco that I cut a wood deck, put it on, and put a little trolling motor on the front, and I had this little portable fish finder, and I was scooting around on Clear Lake and saw her sitting on a bed and flipped a jig down there and saw it disappear. And I'm like, oh crap.
So big it
I
scared
set
you, man?
the, yeah, I set the, I had her, I was using my flipping stick, which was good. I set the hook and she took off under my boat. So I had my rod like down in the water in my little aluminum boat. It was jumping behind me. I couldn't turn around to look. All I could hear was splashing and her jumping behind me. And I'm just like, oh man, I'm in bad shape right now.
That's
But
not
I
the
finally got around to the other side of the boat and landed her.
That's awesome.
Man, she was a giant.
Did you know it was a 10 pounder like when it was in the water? Did you just know?
No, I just knew it was big. Yeah.
Right.
And then I had my scale on me and she was 9'9". And then
Dude.
there was a guy up on the bank. He's like, hey, how big was that fish? I'm like, 9'9". He's like, holy crap.
That's huge, man. Like
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
seen one in person that big.
Yeah.
10 pounder.
I think her eyeballs were about the size of silver dollars almost.
Jeez, like it's staring into your
Or
soul.
50-cent pieces at least. Yeah.
Man. It's crazy how their eyes get so big when they get bigger like that. It's so crazy.
Yeah. And their mouths. I've
Yeah.
caught several 7 and 8 pounders at Clear Lake, and they're just the mouths on those things are like you can easily fit your fist in there. A mayonnaise jar. I always like measured like the 7 pounders. You could take a mayonnaise jar and shove it in its mouth. That's like a 7.
Right. That's good. You don't have a scale, just grab an empty jar of mayonnaise, figure it out how big it was.
Yeah.
That's
What's
awesome.
scary though, if you think about it, the way bass hit lures and topwater, what can you imagine if there was like a 300? What if they got to 300 pounds? They would eat people.
You're gonna need a
Actually,
bigger boat, man.
no, they would actually eat people. You would be swimming in the water and they would come up and just suck you right off the surface
Oh, dude.
and take you under.
Thank goodness that's not a thing. 300
Yeah, I
pounds.
know. Nobody would be swimming.
All the big fish are stuck at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you do any other kind of fishing besides bass fishing?
Mostly bass fishing, but I steelhead fish every year in the spring and the fall. And if we go camping or something like that, I'll trout fish out of those streams and creeks. And um, I haven't for a while, but I would love to go back to the ocean, charter a boat. It's been a couple of years, and do some rock fishing and crabbing and stuff like that. So yeah, I just kind of do it all. We went on a sturgeon trip. Okay. Like 2 weeks ago, we went on a sturgeon trip on a charter boat
Cool.
and we caught like a 6.5 foot sturgeon out of the Hells Canyon and a bunch of smallmouth. So yeah,
That's
just
awesome.
if it's a fish, I love fishing for it.
How was sturgeon fishing? Was it just like a bait and weight?
Yeah, it's almost like catfishing on steroids. So yeah, it's just a huge weight and like half a crappie or chunk of fish, and you just bomb it out there and let it sit on the bottom,
Man,
and
have you done it on the kayak
they'll
yet?
come and eat it.
Have you
What's
tried
that?
on the kayak? Have you tried on the kayak yet? Taking like one of those
No, I
trips?
know there's some guys in Oregon that do, or in Washington, and I'm just like, man, I got to try that sometime. I'll have to hit those guys up one of these times and drive up there for a weekend or something and give that a shot. I know they
For
do it
sure.
around here too. I don't want to do it by myself.
You're right. I wouldn't either.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I could talk anybody in doing that around here. Maybe, but
If you know the spot, people are probably willing to travel to do it with you.
yeah, yeah,
For sure. I've been watching videos of it. I don't get it. Like, I don't know how I could do it. I would
yeah.
just
It's
be
crazy.
paranoid about flipping a boat over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I haven't flipped yet. I say yet.
Never flipped. That's good. Have you fallen out of your boat? I've fallen out of mine before.
No, I haven't fallen out either yet.
Stay dry.
Yeah,
That's
yep.
funny. How many Hoeys have you gone through? Are you just using the? 'Cause you had the 2014, then you got the 360. Have you had any in between those two?
I've had my first kayak, which was the 14, and then I've had two of the 360s. So I got one 360 in 2021, and the seat post cracked. The kayak cracked around the seat post, so it was under warranty, and they sent me a new hull. So now I've got a 2022 360.
Okay,
So I've had three Hobie PA14s, and I've never fished out of any other kayaks before.
that's the go-to then, huh? That's the one. The
Yeah,
360.
I'm kind of curious about these new ones coming out though, just to give them a try. But maybe
Have you
I'll
seen
get into one.
There's like a bona fide skiff that looks kind of interesting too. I don't know. It's like a paddleboard kayak hybrid. I don't know. It looks kind of neat.
Yeah, yeah, I think I saw that one.
I don't know what else is
Yeah.
new. Of course, the old town with the motors, but
Hmm.
there's so many options for kayaks. It's kind of crazy to even choose from.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of manufacturers now that are putting out some really good product. So
For sure.
it's kind of cool to see.
You have anyone you shout out or anything, or any rods or companies, or not that guy?
Yeah, not that guy.
I'm the same. I just fish, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that's all the questions. You have any questions or anything, or you got anything else you want to add? Or
Not really. I think what you're doing is pretty cool though, man. I'm glad you uh are doing the podcast now for the Pacific Northwest, and started following you just a little while ago and watching all your YouTube stuff. And big shout out to you for sure for getting us some exposure and interviewing the anglers and giving us a chance to tell our stories. I think it's awesome.
well, thank you. Yeah, we'll
Yeah, you
keep going
bet.
for
Thank
sure.
you. Yep.
You'll be on again for sure. You have a lot of experience. Like I was telling you before, like it's crazy. Like I knew that you were like good at this stuff. You've been doing it for a long time. I just didn't know how well you were doing until I started digging further.
Yeah.
like, yeah, if anyone has questions, you're definitely one of the people that I would ask for sure. There's a lot of knowledge in there. But yeah, so June 15th, Wawa, you're gonna be there.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's gonna be a good one for sure.
Yeah. It'll be a good one. Because it's piggybacking with the Native No Limit. So that'll
This
be
will
a
be your
fun one.
second one this year, yeah?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Whoever wins that could win both of them. And that's going to be a huge, huge payout.
Good, yeah. I think we got 40 some people signed up now. It'll probably get up to what do you think it's going to get up to, the registration for the no limit?
I'm hoping 100.
100.
I don't know if we're going to hit that or not, but I'm hoping for it. I think we'll be in the 80s.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping for 100 for sure. I think we all are.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the magic number that these tournaments want to hit. So
To get that payout for sure. Yeah.
yeah, I've been hitting up my buddies in California to come up here and stuff. So hopefully we'll see a few of those come up.
That'd be a trip. I guess you
Yeah,
guys,
I
you
always
do it
give them a
all
hard
the time.
time. I'm like, I come down and fish your guys' tournaments. You need to come up here and fish some of ours. So, and my brother has come up here and fished a couple. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's funny. That's cool though.
Yeah.
I'm the only one I know that kayak fish or even fishes in general. Like my
Yeah.
friends don't fish. We'll get to it though. We'll try and push for 100. I don't know. I think we have like we should get it 100. I think
I hope so.
for sure. Yeah. I don't have any more questions or anything. And you don't have anything else to add or anything?
No, I think I'm good.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on and telling us your story, man. That was good stuff for sure.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
For sure.